My parents didn't like me from childhood. They called me a dreamer girl and didn't care about me. I decided to leave them and go to Grandma's house. After 5 years, when I returned for my elder brother's wedding, they treated me like a beggar. When I spoke the reality of my current life, everyone at the event was shocked except my parents. I felt very embarrassed. I decided to seek revenge, and after 6 months, they turned 360 degrees. I've always felt like a square peg in a round hole, especially within my own family. Growing up in Chicago, Illinois, the heart of our bustling construction company, I watched my parents and brother thrive in an environment that never quite felt like home to me. My father, Mark, was a commanding presence. At 52, his stern demeanor and authoritative management style kept our company at the forefront of the local real estate market. My mother, Susan, handled the day-to-day operations with grace, managing staff and ensuring everything ran smoothly. Then there was Jake, my older brother, the golden son. Everyone expected to take over the family business. From a young age, it was clear I was different. While my parents and Jake were passionate about blueprints and building sites, I found solace behind a camera lens. Capturing moments, freezing time, that was my true passion. But passion wasn't something my parents understood. They often pressured me to take an interest in the company's finances. I remember one particular dinner evening that solidified my sense of being an outsider. "Amelia," Dad said, his voice firm, "you need to start contributing more to the business. Understanding the finances is crucial if you ever want to prove yourself here." I glanced at Jake, who smirked, mocking my love for photography. "Maybe she can shoot some promotional photos for us," he teased loudly enough for everyone to hear. The room fell silent, the tension thick. I felt the walls closing in, misunderstood and constrained by expectations that weren't mine. In those moments of frustration, I sought refuge at Grandma Marie's house on the outskirts of Chicago. Her cozy home was a stark contrast to our bustling family business headquarters. Grandma Marie, in her mid-70s, had an inspiring art studio that felt like a sanctuary. She was the only one who truly understood me. Her gentle patience and unwavering support made me feel seen. "Amelia, it's okay to be different," Grandma Marie would say, her eyes twinkling as she watched me develop my photos. "There's magic in what you do." Her words were a balm to my wounded spirit. While my parents and Jake pushed me towards the family legacy, Grandma Marie nurtured my individuality. As I entered my late 20s, the tension at home escalated. Mark and Susan were thrilled about Jake taking on a larger role in the company, preparing him to lead. Meanwhile, I felt invisible, my aspirations dismissed as frivolous. One evening, during a heated family meeting about expanding our construction projects, I reached my breaking point. Everyone was discussing budgets and timelines, the conversation revolving around cement and steel. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of years of suppression pressing down on me. "I've made a decision," I declared, my voice steady despite the storm brewing inside me. "I'm not joining the family business. I'm pursuing a career in photography." The room erupted in chaos. Mark's face turned red with anger, his authoritative facade cracking. Jake burst out laughing, unable to hide his contempt. "Photography? That's your plan? You're never going to make it, Amelia." Grandma Marie stepped forward, placing a comforting hand on my shoulder. "Amelia has a gift. Let her follow her heart." Despite her support, the backlash from my parents was swift and fierce. Mark couldn't hide his disappointment, and Jake's mockery only intensified. I felt cornered, but there was no turning back. I knew I had to stand firm. That night, I packed my belongings and moved into Grandma Marie's house. It was a bittersweet departure from the family home, but it was the first step towards my dreams. The art studio became my sanctuary, a place where I could immerse myself in my work without the constant pressure to conform. Enrolling in a prestigious photography program was both exhilarating and overwhelming. On my first day, I met Mia, a spirited classmate who immediately became my friend and supporter. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and together, we navigated the challenges of our demanding coursework. Under the guidance of Mr. Harris, an inspiring mentor with a keen eye for talent, I began to hone my skills. My passion translated into impressive portfolios, and soon, I started winning awards. Each accolade was a testament to the hard work and dedication I had poured into my craft. Grandma Marie's art studio transformed into my personal gallery, filled with stunning works that captured the essence of life through my lens. It became a reflection of who I was: independent, creative, and determined. My success in photography felt like a silent rebellion against the path my family had laid out for me. But life has a way of changing course unexpectedly. One chilly autumn morning, I received the news that Grandma Marie had passed away suddenly. The loss hit me hard, but there was also a sense of closure. She left me her house and all her art equipment, a legacy that I vowed to honor. My family disapproved of the inheritance, seeing it as unnecessary and a distraction from their construction empire. To them, I was a failed attempt at following a dream, while they built tangible structures that stood the test of time. Determined to prove them wrong, I poured myself into my photography. Each photograph was more than just an image, it was a statement of my resilience and passion. I wanted the world to see that my path, though different, was just as valuable and impactful as the one they had chosen. Years passed and my work gained recognition in the art community. But the real turning point came when I attended Jake's wedding. It was a bittersweet occasion, attending the celebration of my brother's success while feeling the lingering sting of rejection. Yet, something unexpected happened that night. As I mingled with the guests, I was recognized for my outstanding work. The mayor took the microphone during his speech and publicly praised my contributions to the art world. Applause filled the room, and I felt a surge of pride. It was the validation I had longed for, the moment where my family's indifference was replaced by begrudging respect. But more than that, it was the beginning of a new chapter, one where I would no longer hide in the shadows of betrayal and rejection. As I stood there, basking in the recognition, I knew this was just the start. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time, I felt truly empowered to shape my destiny. After Jake's wedding, everything seemed to shift. The applause from the mayor's speech still echoed in my ears, a constant reminder that my efforts were finally being recognized. It was a night of mixed emotions, celebrating my brother's happiness while feeling a lingering bitterness from years of rejection. But that evening marked the beginning of a new phase in my life. Back at Grandma Marie's house, now officially my home, I dove deeper into my photography. Mia and I spent countless hours brainstorming ideas for new projects. Her energy was contagious, and together, we pushed each other to explore new creative horizons. Mr. Harris continued to mentor me, offering invaluable advice that helped refine my style. My portfolio grew, each photograph more daring and evocative than the last. One chilly morning, as autumn leaves danced outside the window, Mia approached me with an excited look. "Amelia, I've got an idea for our next project. It's bold, but I think it could really make a statement." I raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Tell me more." She pulled up a chair, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "I want to create a series that highlights the hidden struggles within successful families. You know, the pressures, the secrets people keep to maintain their image. It could resonate with a lot of people." The idea sparked something inside me. It was subtle, but there was a connection to my own experiences. "I like it. Let's explore that." As we worked on the project, I couldn't help but think about my own family. Beneath the polished surface of our construction empire, there were unspoken tensions and unresolved conflicts. My parents' relentless pursuit of success had strained their relationships, and Jake's pressure to take over the business had isolated me further. The more I reflected, the more I realized there were stories worth telling, stories that mirrored my own journey of feeling trapped and misunderstood. One evening, while reviewing old family photos, I stumbled upon images of my parents and Jake at construction sites, always with stern expressions. I noticed subtle cracks in the concrete they were building, almost like the fractures within our family. An idea began to form. What if I used my photography to uncover the hidden flaws in our family's business practices? The thought was both thrilling and terrifying. Exposing my family's unethical methods would not only be a form of revenge, but also a way to bring truth to light. I knew it was risky, but the desire to reclaim my identity and assert my independence outweighed the fear of backlash. I shared my idea with Mia, who immediately saw the potential. "This could be powerful, Amelia, but we need to be careful. If we're going to expose something, it has to be undeniable." We began discreetly gathering information. Mia reached out to some of her contacts in the local journalism scene, while I used my photography skills to document anything suspicious. We spent weekends visiting construction sites under the guise of capturing the industry's progress, but our true intention was to find the cracks, both literal and metaphorical, in our family's operations. One late afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows over the city, Mia called me with exciting news. "I've got something." One of my contacts leaked some internal documents from the company. There are discrepancies in the financial reports and questionable permits for some of the projects. My heart raced. This was the breakthrough we needed. "Can you send them to me? I'll start looking for photographic evidence to support this." As the days turned into weeks, our project took shape. I captured images of poorly constructed buildings, substandard materials, and overlooked safety measures. Each photograph was a piece of the puzzle, revealing the truth behind the facade of our family's success. Meanwhile, my family remained oblivious to my activities. Mark and Susan were engrossed in expanding the business, while Jake was preoccupied with his upcoming projects. Their focus left little room for personal reflection, allowing me the perfect opportunity to execute my plan without immediate suspicion. However, the closer I got to the truth, the more I felt the weight of the impending confrontation. The tension was palpable, a constant undercurrent that threatened to disrupt the fragile peace I had built. I knew that once the evidence was out, there would be no turning back. One evening, as I reviewed the latest batch of photos, my phone buzzed with a message from Mia. "We need to meet. It's urgent." I hurried to the cafe, where we often discussed our projects. Mia looked visibly shaken, her usually bright demeanor clouded with worry. "What's wrong?" She took a deep breath, sliding a folder across the table. "I found something else. There are contracts signed off by Mark that are completely forged. They were used to secure permits for projects that never materialized. This could take the company down." My mind raced. The implications were severe. Not only were we exposing unethical practices, but we were also revealing deliberate fraud that had been hidden for years. "This is bigger than I thought," I whispered. Mia nodded, her eyes filled with determination. "We need to publish this, but we have to ensure everything is airtight. If we proceed without solid evidence, it could backfire." I agreed. The stakes were high, but so was my resolve. This was my chance to dismantle the very foundation that had rejected me for so long. It was a calculated risk, but one I was willing to take for the sake of my freedom and integrity. As we prepared to move forward, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were walking a tightrope. Every step brought us closer to exposing the truth, but it also heightened the suspense of what was to come. The family I once loved and respected was now the target of my revenge, and the outcome was uncertain. The night before the planned publication, I sat alone in Grandma Marie's art studio, reflecting on the journey that had led me here. Her words echoed in my mind, reminding me of the magic in following one's passion. I took a deep breath, feeling a surge of determination. Whatever happened next, I was ready to face it head-on. The night before we were set to publish our findings, tension filled the air. I sat alone in Grandma Marie's art studio, the same place that had nurtured my dreams now becoming the battleground for my revenge. The room was quiet except for the distant sounds of Chicago nightlife. I glanced around at my photographs lining the walls, each one a testament to my journey and the battles I had faced. Mia knocked softly on the door and stepped inside, her face serious. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" she asked, her voice steady, but eyes revealing her anxiety. I took a deep breath. "As ready as I'll ever be. This is it, Mia. Once we publish, there's no turning back." She nodded, placing a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "We've done everything by the book. The evidence is solid. We just need to stay calm and let the truth speak for itself." The next morning arrived with a mix of excitement and dread. We met at a local cafe to finalize the last details before going live. The article was scheduled to be published on the front page of the city's leading newspaper. Our collaboration had paid off, and the moment of truth was near. As I walked into the cafe, I saw Mia already there, reviewing the final draft on her laptop. "Morning," I greeted her, sliding into the seat across from her. "Morning," she replied with a small smile. "Everything looks perfect. Are you ready?" I nodded, feeling a surge of determination. "Let's do this." We coordinated with Mia's journalism contacts to ensure the release went smoothly. By midday, our article was live, detailing the unethical practices within my family's construction company. It exposed financial discrepancies, forged contracts, and unsafe building practices, all backed by my photographic evidence. The response was immediate. Social media buzzed with reactions, and local news outlets picked up the story quickly. I watched as notifications of shares and comments poured in, each one amplifying the impact of our work. The community was outraged, demanding accountability and transparency. That afternoon, I received a call from my father. His voice was tense, laced with anger. "Amelia, what have you done? Do you understand the consequences?" I felt a mix of fear and vindication. "I did what was necessary, Dad. The truth needs to come out." There was a pause before he responded, his frustration evident. "You're destroying everything we've built. This will ruin us." Meanwhile, Jake confronted me at the office, his usual confidence shaken. "You think you're some sort of hero, don't you? Exposing our family like this." I stood my ground. "I'm not a hero, Jake. I'm just showing the truth. Maybe now you'll see the real cost of this business." As the days passed, the fallout was swift. Investigations were launched, and legal troubles began to surface for my family. The company's reputation took a severe hit, and projects were halted due to safety concerns. Mark and Susan struggled to manage the crisis, their authority waning as the public turned against them. Amid the chaos, my own career soared. Art galleries and exhibitions sought my work, impressed by the depth and honesty of my photography. The media praised my bravery in standing up against corruption, and offers for collaborations flooded in. It was a bittersweet victory. While my family's downfall brought a sense of justice, it also marked the end of a chapter filled with pain and rejection. One evening, I received an unexpected visit from Aunt Clara. She sat down beside me, her eyes filled with concern and empathy. "Amelia, I'm so sorry you had to go through all this. You did what you had to do." I smiled softly, grateful for her support. Thank you, Aunt Clara. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. As I looked around the studio, now filled with new opportunities, I felt a sense of peace. The path I had chosen was fraught with challenges, but it had led me to my true self. I had broken free from the chains of betrayal and emerged stronger, ready to embrace the future I had always dreamed of. The suspense wasn't over yet, but I was prepared for whatever came next. My journey was just beginning, and I was determined to continue forging my own destiny, one photograph at a time. The weeks following the publication of our exposé were a whirlwind of emotions and events. The fallout from the articles spread like wildfire, engulfing our family's construction company in scandal. Investigations were launched, and the once respected name began to crumble under the weight of revealed deceit. Watching my family's empire disintegrate was both satisfying and heartbreaking. It was the culmination of years of feeling betrayed and overlooked, but it also marked the end of a significant chapter in my life. One evening, as I reviewed my latest photographs in the studio, Aunt Clara walked in. Her presence was a quiet comfort amidst the chaos. "Amelia, how are you holding up?" she asked gently. I looked up, managing a weary smile. "It's been tough, but I'm doing okay. It feels like a weight has been lifted, finally being free from all the tension." She nodded, sitting beside me. "You've done something incredible. It took a lot of courage to stand up the way you did." I sighed, reflecting on the journey. I just wanted to be seen for who I am, not who they wanted me to be. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about proving that my path was valid. As the company faced legal battles and public backlash, Mark and Jake struggled to maintain their dignity. Mark became reclusive, avoiding public appearances, while Jake's once unwavering confidence was shattered. Their attempts to salvage what was left were futile, and slowly, they began to understand the depth of their actions. It was a harsh lesson in humility, one that came too late to repair the damage done. Meanwhile, my career continued to soar. Galleries showcased my work, and I received invitations to speak at art conferences. The recognition was overwhelming, but it was also deeply personal. Each accolade was a reminder of how far I had come from the girl who felt invisible in her own family. Mia remained a steadfast friend, our bond strengthened by the shared struggle. Together, we explored new creative ventures, always pushing the boundaries of what we could achieve. One sunny afternoon, Lily, my understanding cousin, visited the studio. She brought along a selection of family photos, hoping to bridge the gap that had formed over the years. "I wanted to share these with you," she said, handing me the album. "Maybe it's time we start healing." I flipped through the pages, seeing glimpses of happier times before the conflicts took hold. "Thank you, Lily. Healing is something I'm open to, but it's going to take time." She smiled warmly. "Whenever you're ready, I'm here." As the months passed, I focused on building my own legacy, one that was independent of my family's shadow. The art studio became a hub for creative minds, a place where stories were told through lenses and brushes, not just brick and mortar. My work continued to evolve, each project a reflection of my growth and resilience. Yet, despite the success and newfound freedom, a part of me remained vigilant. The experience had taught me the importance of safeguarding my integrity and staying true to my values. I knew that while the immediate threat to my family's business had been neutralized, the underlying tensions could resurface in unexpected ways. One evening, as I was preparing for an upcoming exhibition, I received an anonymous message. It was a simple statement: "The truth always finds its way." My heart skipped a beat. Was it a threat or a warning? The uncertainty hung in the air, a lingering shadow that reminded me that my journey was far from over. I stood by the window, looking out over the city that had been both my battleground and my sanctuary. "No matter what comes next," I whispered to myself, "I will continue to embrace who I am and protect the life I've built." The future was uncertain, but for the first time, I felt truly empowered. I had dismantled the chains of betrayal and carved out a space where my passion could flourish. As I turned back to my work, the studio bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun, I knew that my story was just beginning. The horizon was vast, and I was ready to capture every moment, every challenge, and every triumph that lay ahead.